Hey there, so I'm going to make a really quick video explaining how to subtract fractions with unlike denominators. So I'm going to work through the first 4 problems with you, and then you'll just have the rest to complete on your own, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look at number 1. We have 3/7 minus 2/6. So what I did, I rewrote the 2 fractions so I'd have more room. 3/7 minus 2/6. Then I noticed I have 2 different numbers in my denominator. So what I need to do is come up with a common denominator, okay? So I have to ask myself, what is a number that both 7 and 6 can go evenly into? So that common number could be 42. So what I did to create 42 on the bottom, I had to multiply 7 times 6 to give me 42. And what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. I'm going to multiply by 6. So 3 times 6 is going to give me 18. So my new first fraction for this problem would be 18 over 42. Now I need to subtract the 2/6, but before I can do that, once again, I have to find that common denominator. So we have that same number on the bottom. So I'm going to be turning this 6 into a 42. So I need to ask myself, what number can I multiply 6 by to get 42? So yes, I'm going to multiply by 7. 6 times 7 is going to give me 42. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 2 times 7 is going to give me 14. So we now have these 2 fractions to subtract. All right, so let's go ahead and do the numerators first, and then I'll explain about the denominator next. So we're going to do 18 minus 14, and that's going to give me 4 as the new numerator. Now for the denominator, we do not subtract denominators. The denominator is going to stay the same, okay? So I have 4 over 42. What I need to do next is ask myself, is this in simplest terms? Is there a factor that can go into both evenly? All right, so first thing is we need to see, since they are both even, I can divide by the number 2. So I'm going to divide by 2 on top, and I'm going to divide by 2 on the bottom. So 4 divided by 2 gives me 2, and 42 divided by 2 gives me 21. So my answer in simplest terms would be 2 over 21, because there are no other factors that can go evenly into both 2 and 21 that are the same number. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We have 2/3 minus 2/5. All right, I rewrote my 2 fractions, 2/3 and 2/5, to give myself a little more room. Then I need to ask myself, since these are 2 different numbers, how could I come up with a common denominator, okay, or the same number on the bottom? So what number could 3 and 5 both go into? Well, they can both go into 15. So I'm going to use 15 as my common denominator. So to change my 3 into a 15, I have to multiply by 5. And when I do the bottom, I do the top. So I'm going to multiply by 5 across the top as well. 2 times 5 gives me 10. 3 times 5 gives me the 15. So my new first fraction is 10/15. Then to subtract, I have to change my other fraction as well to have that common denominator of 15. So I'm going to multiply 5 times the number 3, because I know 5 times 3 is going to give me the 15. Good. And when I do the bottom, I do to the top. So 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and subtract across the numerators. So 10 minus 6 is going to give me 4. And you should remember that 15, the denominator, is going to stay the same. So 4/15 should be my answer. Then I need to ask, is this in simplest terms? The answer here is yes, it is, because there is no other factor that can go into both 4 and 15 evenly. Okay, so it is reduced. Now let's look at number 2. 3/7 minus 2/8. So I rewrote it again, giving myself some room, and I need to ask myself, what is a common number that 7 and 8 can both go into? Well, I know one possible answer would be 56. So I'm going to go ahead and change that 7 into a 56 by multiplying by 8. 7 times 8 gives me 56. What I do the bottom, I do the top. 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. So here's my new first fraction. Next, to subtract, I have to find that common denominator first. So, what number times 8 is going to give me 56? Well, I know 8 times 7 gives me 56. So what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And 2 times 7 is going to give me 14. Now I can go ahead and subtract across the numerators. So 24 minus 14 gives me 10. The denominator stays the same, so I have 10 over 56. Since both of these numbers are even numbers, I know I can reduce or simplify this by dividing by the number 2 for both the top and the bottom, because 2 can always go into an even number. So 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 56 28 times, so 28 would be my new answer in simplest terms. All right, here's my last one. We have 3/7 minus 1/8. Once again, I'm using the numbers 7 and 8, so I know that a common denominator here that I could use would be 56, just like in our previous problem. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 7 times 8 to give me 56. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top, so let's do 3 times 8 to give me 24. Here's my new first fraction. Okay, so we're done with this one. Now let's go ahead to the next one. We have 1/8, and I have to also change this into a common denominator of 56. So we're going to do 8 times 7, and that's going to give me 56. And when I do the bottom, I do the top. 1 times 7, and that's going to give me 7. So here's my new second fraction. Now that I am done with both of these originals, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the new equivalent fractions. So let's do 24 minus the 7, and that's going to give me 17 as my new numerator. And remember, the denominator is going to stay the same. So I should have 17 over 56. All right, so there would be no other factors that can go into 17 or 56 evenly, so I know that I am technically finished with this problem. It is already in simplest terms. All right, thank you so much. I hope that was helpful, and remember, you're going to be solving the rest of the sheet, and just send me a copy of your completed work. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.